And Domingo, at the end of the day, Bud mentioned it here, but you have big Dallas candidates like Jasmine Crockett, like Nathan Johnson, who are likely counting on a lot of their supporters who know them in Dallas to show up. Are their campaigns in trouble tonight?
They are, and you know what?
You think they are?
There's a big lie that there's voter fraud in Texas. The fact of the matter is that doesn't exist. But the Republicans wanted to have paper ballots. Can you imagine how many paper ballots and how long that would have taken? Then they said, you know what, we want everybody to vote in their precinct. We haven't done that in 10 years. So it was a man-made, Republican-created fiasco. And it is going to impact local candidates here in Dallas, both Republican and Democrat. I saw Paxton's behind. I don't know how many votes he should have gotten in Dallas that he's not going to get. And Jasmine Crockett needs a big turnout in Dallas to win.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with those in the next hour and 46 minutes here before the polls in Dallas County close and the polls in El Paso close at 8 o'clock since it's in Mountain Time. Let's go now to Austin, where Teresa Woodard is with the Cornyn campaign. Teresa, of course, I'm sure they are watching this closely as well.
Yeah, in fact, Jason, I think I might have been the one to break the news to the Cornyn campaign that the polls in Dallas County had been extended until 9 o'clock tonight. When I was talking with a member of the campaign, he was surprised to hear that. Of course, that was just about maybe an hour ago, just as the news broke, but something they are definitely keeping an eye on. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about the setup here tonight. You can see some reporters back here behind me. John Cornyn is foregoing the traditional watch party tonight. Instead, he is planning to simply address reporters after we see some of the early vote numbers come in. A little bit of context as to why there is no party. They say they are saving the party for the runoff. Senator Cornyn has never faced a runoff as a senator. In fact, the last time he was in a runoff was way back in 1998 when he was running for Texas Attorney General, almost 30 years ago. And just for a little bit of context, that runoff had only 230,000 people vote in it. Quite a difference when you think about how many people live in Texas now, how much Texas has grown, and how long Senator Cornyn has been in a position of power across this state. Again, he is fully expecting a runoff tonight. He is fully prepared for this thing to go through the end of May, and he is fully expecting for that candidate in the runoff to be Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. In fact, this morning, Jason, I know you spoke with Senator Cornyn, and he told you that is what this campaign is preparing for.
Indeed so, Teresa. He said it's going to be a dead heat tonight. We'll see what the results look like as they start to come in over the next few hours. Let's now go to the Paxton campaign. It is in Dallas tonight at a hotel in Dallas tonight, and Tanya Iser is there. Tanya, let me start with a question you might not know about here. She's not yet with us here, but we're now seeing some reporting from the New York Times that the Dallas Police Department has evidently placed a person in custody in downtown Dallas outside this hotel after discovering firearms and ammunition in that person's vehicle. And Tanya is with us now. Tanya, number one, have you heard about this? And secondly, what's it like on the inside? Have you seen additional security there?
We've seen a heavy security here. Actually, they had a bomb squad out here earlier. They got here when we were here. We got here around 3 o'clock, around 2 o'clock actually, and they were here checking all of our gear before we came inside. So the security has been pretty heavy duty here. And we just did get a press release from the Dallas Police Department. It says that at about 5:16 p.m. that officers were notified of a suspicious individual just outside the hotel. It says the individual entered a vehicle that did not display a proper license plate and left the area. Officers did a traffic stop on the vehicle, and the driver was arrested for traffic violations, and that during an inventory of that vehicle, officers located firearms and ammunition. And then this person's been taken back to police headquarters for questioning. So obviously a lot of questions remain about who this person is, what they were trying to accomplish, were they trying to come here? We don't know any of that, but I will say again that security has been very heavy here. There is a sense in this room, though, of a lot of confidence. This room has been filling up. We're at the Marriott Uptown, and we've seen a lot of people coming. We've seen signs for Paxton Patriots. They had a big sign outside the room. And around 6:30, the Attorney General came in, and he was practicing his speech. He was obviously doing a sound check, and he was thanking his kids and his grandkids. Now, And so there's a lot of confidence in this race. But obviously there's a lot of concern from the Republican establishment about Ken Paxton. He has a difficult history, if you will. He was impeached by the House, the Texas House, and then of course he was survived the effort to remove him from office. He's had criminal allegations against him in the past also, which he has survived. I mean, there's no doubt about it, he has been a survivor, and he has used all of those things to portray himself as someone who's been a victim of the establishment and of people that are out to get him. He has, obviously closely aligned himself with President Trump, and he has, but pointedly, the president has not taken a stance in this race. So, we're very much expecting that he will make the runoff and waiting to see what happens in the general election.
We are waiting to see about that, and clearly the momentum is behind him. It is interesting, though, you're talking about how he has just survived all those political challenges. The other person the momentum is behind as well is James Talarico, the state representative from the Austin area. Cole Sullivan is with him tonight.
Jason, you're right. Their campaign here is hoping to capitalize on some of that momentum, some of it national momentum, as we saw after the controversy after that Colbert interview on The Late Show that really got a lot of name recognition for James Talarico against an opponent who already has a lot of name recognition and also a lot of money in this race as well. You talk about the impact of Dallas County extending the hours could be significant on this race, especially on the Democratic side. 3 times more people turned out to early vote in Dallas this cycle compared to the last midterms, and that's Crockett territory. So I was really interested to see what the Talarico campaign was going to say about this confusion that you were talking about at the top of this hour. The Talarico campaign put out a statement saying they support extending those voting hours in both Dallas and Williamson County down here near Austin, where we've also seen some of that. Dallas is Crockett territory, though, so seeing what that impact will be on the final election totals will be very interesting. Here in Austin, where I am with the Talarico campaign event, people are starting to trickle in. It's getting a little bit loud behind me. They're handing out signs that, again, just shows the contrast between the two candidates in this race. The signs here for James Talarico say, "Love thy neighbor" on one side and Talarico for Texas on the other, trying to draw that contrast and approach, again, in a race that doesn't have much difference on the issues, but a lot on the approach of the candidates, Talarico and Congresswoman Crockett as well. My colleague Natalie Haddad is covering Congresswoman Crockett and is in Dallas at her watch party. Natalie, what's the atmosphere like where you are?
Hey, good evening to you, Cole. Hope you're having a good time over there. Things are slowly starting to pick up here at the Crockett Watch Party. Across the Metroplex, we know that the Crockett campaign has been stopping by polling areas, still talking to voters to the very last minute when they possibly can. We know that Jasmine Crockett herself was just a little while ago with former Representative Colin Allred holding a press conference about the mass confusion across Dallas County and all of the voters who were being turned away from from these voting locations, not at the appropriate ones. I have a statement that she released earlier around 6 o'clock today talking about that. We know that Representative Crockett had been monitoring this situation all day, and she says that this was intentional. In her statement, she says this effort to suppress the vote, to confuse and inconvenience voters is having its intended effect as people are being turned away from the polls. We are monitoring the situation and working with our local county party to explore all solutions, including the extension of Election Day voting hours in which this was successful. Dallas voting locations now open until 9 p.m. We have not seen Representative Crockett here at her watch party just yet, but we know that that will be happening shortly, and we do have plans to interview her and ask her about this mass confusion, about how she believes this was intentional by the Dallas County Republican Party, and to see what she may feel come end of the night if she wins or if she loses. How many votes do we think, or does she believe that she lost because of this mass confusion? So a lot of questions for her and for really the state on how this, and the county on how this was, how this went out today with so many voters being turned away. I know some of our colleagues earlier in the day, as they were going to voting locations and speaking with frustrated people, they said, well, I'm just not going to vote at all. So it will be interesting to see how many votes were cast at this expense. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Natalie, thanks so much for that. Just a reminder here, as our coverage continues tonight, we will have some live pictures on the sides of the screen here showing live counting in all 4 of the major counties here in North Texas, in Dallas County, Tarrant County, Denton County, and Collin County. You will see that on the screen throughout the evening as we continue the conversation here. Matt Engel, let's start with you. We just heard what Natalie said at the Crockett campaign here tonight. She says this was intentional by the GOP because it deliberately wanted to split up the voting that they have had for years together. But she got into the race late. She declared December 6th, 5th, whenever it was, the same day. I'm curious, now that this has happened here too, how does this dent her campaign? Does this blunt turnout in North Texas?
Well, it could for sure, and I don't think there's any question, though, that the Republicans want to run against Jasmine Crockett, but I think that they saw splitting up the vote probably would slow voting in Dallas County. But I think Jasmine, though, she did start late. She hasn't run a traditional campaign, but I think there is increased turnout in North Texas because of her campaign, and I think it will affect other races down ballot, even if it's not enough for her to nominate her statewide.
You think it could impact other races down ballot, though?
Yeah, definitely.
How so?